Hey guys, welcome back to the At the Bar podcast. My name is Alex Parkinson and I'm back once again with my co-host Harry Morris. Harry, what are we going to be talking about on today's podcast?
So on today's podcast, we're going to be discussing why you would want a personal trainer, the reservations people have about personal training, and alternatives available.
Cool. Just a few notes before we do start on that. For you guys listening at home, if you can hear any traffic in the background, unfortunately we're still recording in a less than ideal location, but that will be changing from next week. Still sort of feeling the aftermath of all that snow that we had the other week over here in the UK. Secondly, how me and Harry do these shows is we set a general topic and then we work out a few points that we feel are really important about that topic and discuss them here on the show. We are, however, open to suggestions. So if you have a topic or a question you would like us to discuss, it's simple. All you need to do is send us an email to theatbpodcast@gmail.com. That's theatbpodcast@gmail.com. You can find that in the description below, and just put the word topic in the subject line. That'd be great. Be as detailed as you can be and we'll try and feature your question on a future show. Alternatively, we've just launched our Instagram page, so if you go and give us a follow, you can find us at atbpod and get in touch with us through there. Awesome. So without further ado, why might someone need a personal trainer, Harry?
So I think there's two ways of looking at this. There's what you can get from a PT and why you might need one in the first place. So what you can get from a PT is guidance and knowledge. So our profession it's necessary that we've had to look these things up. The right way to help somebody achieve fat loss, the right way to help somebody achieve muscle building, purely from a scientific and knowledge point of view. So it saves you having to find that information out yourself, as we've already done that work. Accountability. So you've got somebody there that you're accountable to. Sometimes when you're just relying on yourself, you'll let yourself off. Just through human nature, we tend to let ourselves off a little bit. Mm-hmm. But when you've got somebody there to report back to somebody to give you guidance and motivation, it can help you adhere. Which also brings us on to my next point, which was motivation. So you'll have somebody there to encourage you along. You might have a bad gym session, a bad week. You might feel like giving up. You might feel like it's too difficult. But you've got someone there to pick you up and help you along. So that's what you can get from a PT. Why you might need one in the first place. It could be something simple like you want to get back into a dress that you wore once. You want to look good with your shirt off on the beach. You want to bulk up a little bit and feel a little bit more self-confident, or even something like improve your quality of life, your health, run around with the grandkids, that kind of thing. There's a whole heap of reasons as to why you need one. What's your thoughts on that question then, Alex?
I think you've answered most of them. I mean, obviously there's personal reasons that people have, so it would be something specific. This is what we would normally talk about in a consultation process about, their why for being here. We talked about that in our basics episode. Yep. Like you said, it can be as simple as just wanting a better quality of life, not having so many aches and pains when you're operating on a day-to-day level, or it could be more the fact that person lacks sort of self-motivation, and if they're going to be accountable to a coach and if that's going to get them out of bed in the morning to come in and train, then that's what they need. But
so with your clients, do you find that you tend to attract a certain type of person, somebody who is coming for you for a certain reason, or do you get quite a good spread?
I think it does tend to be, you can narrow it down. The majority of people that I would say, not just for myself, but the most personal trainers in a gym, like Pure Gym, interact with are going to be sort of just members of the general population who want to achieve weight/fat loss. Yep. And that just tends to be it, and that's because that is sort of the biggest goal that a lot of people will have. That's why there's things like Slimming World and Weight Watchers by the dozen.
Yeah, we'll come on to that later, I think.
We will. But so that to be sort of general for a second, that is the sort of person that we tend to be helping in this environment.
Yeah, I agree. So moving on, barriers to a personal trainer. So I think people have reservations around getting a PT. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think I'm right as well.
It's for once we agree. I think what it is that for some people they feel that they can do things by themselves. That they don't need to be accountable to someone, or that they maybe look at how some personal trainers behave and actually think that's not for me. They might think it's going to be super expensive, and they haven't realised the value in that investment. Or they might just genuinely want to get started by themselves and feel it out for themselves. There might be a little bit of self-consciousness in there. I think everyone can benefit from a personal trainer. I don't think everyone needs a personal trainer.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on that?
So like, for example, yourself, you're capable of setting up your own goals and working out the sort of training that you need to achieve those goals. So unless you wanted someone with like a specialist knowledge, which I think you're going to come on to anyway, a little bit later on in the episode, but like unless you needed someone with like I say specialist knowledge on a certain topic, then you would probably be okay. You're motivated to come in and train by yourself. You make the time to come in and train by yourself. You have you know where you need to look to find the information to get to where you want to with your goals. So you don't need it. And obviously you're a personal trainer, so on one hand you do already like have a knowledge base that's there. If we're speaking about general population people, then I would say there's going to be people out there that are very specific in their goals. In terms of my sister, let's use her for an example. She's a long distance runner. She knows what she needs to do to better her times, and she goes out there and does it. And there's only so much, like obviously if she was going to be competing on a sort of like an Olympic level, for example, then only then would really delve into the minutiae of the finding out the 1% of improvement. But other than that, she's good. She eats well,
got that knowledge there.
She trains hard. So like that's fine. What do you think? What have people said to you before about why they're sort of cautious about getting a personal trainer?
So I think particularly in our demographic, in our local area, price and finance comes into it. People don't have a lot of disposable income around here, generalising. And I think the way you phrased it earlier was actually really interesting. You said people they haven't appreciated the value. I think as a personal trainer, the hardest thing, but also the most important thing to convey to somebody is the value in that, in the services that we offer. So that's probably the biggest barrier that I see. And again, it's conveying to people the value.
So to build on that, basically, like, if seeing a personal trainer once a week costs you between 100 and 160 quid per month, that sounds like a huge number to some people, depending on your background, and that can be quite intimidating. However, if you look to your personal finances and let's say you go out on a Friday and a Saturday night, you spend 20 quid on each night, you've spent 160 quid over the course of the month. And
20 would be a light night as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You can spend that just on food.
People can spend anywhere between 20 and 100 quid plus on a night out.
Easily,
so you don't think twice about spending that money because you think, oh, well, I'm having a fun time, I'm going out with friends, whatever, socialising, and I'm not discrediting that at all, but if you sacrificed one of those nights out a week, then you could maybe get yourself some personal training and actually improve your health on a day-to-day level, not just for one night's happiness. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. And that is coming down to priorities in life as well. I think 100%. If somebody's got a priority on their health and fitness, then that outlay of cost is more manageable. Let
me put it to you like this: last year there was a point where I was a member of a couple of gyms, including my CrossFit gym. My monthly expenditure just on gym memberships alone was nearly £100. Then you've got to add in the cost of getting to those locations in terms of the petrol. So you probably are looking at £100 just on the memberships alone. Let alone the equipment that I might want to purchase or the sort of sportswear. But I understand the value of it. I believe that I'm improving my life by training regularly, and I see the the results of that.
Yeah.
So I understand it, and actually I would rather. There was a tipping point for me a couple of years ago, just before I sort of came into personal training, where my mindset and attitude shifted away from wanting to spend every single night out at the pub drinking with friends. I tried to change my social life into something that was actually going to benefit me on a day-to-day level. So part of the reason that I chose to do CrossFit originally was because of the community aspect of CrossFit, and the fact that you go out and you train with your friends. And instead of going for a pint now, I'll go for a coffee now or something like that.
Yeah, or a gym session. Just go for a workout.
Exactly.
And you get to see your friends. It's two birds with one stone.
It is, and I don't know, like I would much rather I think a lot of people don't understand it, but I would much rather socialise by training or by creating something awesome like this podcast than going out spending a load of money on something that I'm never going to see again.
Yeah.
And you could argue, well, we're making memories, but are you though? Because I know a lot of people don't remember their nights out.
Yeah, depends how hard you went in. Yeah. So my final point on that regarding price is especially applying it to beginners and people who are new in the gym. Mm-hmm. Some people are quite honest and they will admit that they don't have a clear idea on what they're doing. They're not sure how to use equipment. They're not sure whether they're doing the exercises correct. They don't know what exercises to do.
Yeah.
So if you're in that position, yes, there is an outlay of cost to have dealings with a trainer, but you could spend a year in that position and you're still paying your membership, and you might not benefit from the results. So even if you took, I don't know, an 8-week package, a 10-week package, a 12-week package, depending on the trainer and their business setup, you can get that foundation knowledge from a trainer and have that confidence that you're exercising in a correct way, you've got a routine perhaps, or purchase a nutritional plan or an exercise plan from somebody who's tailored it for you.
Got it. So besides the fact that you are a personal trainer with a business and an agenda in a way, like let's not be around the bush with that.
Yep.
Would you think you yourself could ever see yourself getting a personal trainer?
So, like you said earlier, right now, no, because I'm confident that I've structured my program and how it's going to benefit me. I'm seeing results from it. Motivation-wise, I don't really struggle. I train alone mostly, or unless we're training together. We started training together more recently, so you've got that bit of accountability there already, like when we train together, and I can motivate myself to come in and train alone if I have to. So right now, no. But the time where I would invest in a trainer is where I felt like my skill set didn't provide what I needed. Yeah. So, for example, if I wanted to get stage ready, I don't think I do, but if I wanted to get stage ready, I'm not a competition prep coach, and somebody who's had experience getting people down to those levels of body fat, getting people ready to get on stage, I would invest in a prep coach. Yeah. If I wanted to transition into combat sports, I don't know anything about combat sports. Yeah. Let's say I wanted to get in the ring, I would invest in a coach.
Would that be on a one-to-one level, or would you start off by like going to boxing classes, for example, if we're talking about boxing?
I think that ties into priorities, how much I prioritise that. If I was really serious about competing, I'd get a one-to-one coach. Cool. But if I was just looking to try it out, I'd probably start with something that's a lower output for myself. Yeah. What about you? Would you grab a coach now? Yeah,
I think I would actually. With where I am at in terms of my own abilities within the sport, there's, for example, like more technical gymnastics movements, like
for CrossFit.
Yeah, for CrossFit. Yeah. Like handstand push-ups or muscle-ups and things like that. That I just, I know where to find the resources to do it, but I feel like I would benefit from having someone there to watch me and tell me like exactly what I'm doing wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't need people to come in and motivate me to do like the hard work, like the sweaty work or the the mobility work. Like I can do that stuff, but it's the in Olympic weightlifting, for example, like those are really technical moves that you benefit hugely, no matter what skill level you're at, by having someone keeping an eye on you. So purely because of the technicality of the sport that I do. Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, I put this on my Instagram, but I went to an Olympic lifting workshop with a coach called Michaela Breeze, and she was amazing. And I've been Olympic lifting for quite a while, because of CrossFit. I used to do CrossFit as well. I'm not a CrossFitter right now, and that's more Alex's scene. I will just get that out there. But I did CrossFit. I started CrossFit when I was...
Well, this isn't a CrossFit podcast.
It's not a CrossFit podcast either. It's just something that people are getting in. But it's generating a lot of hype, isn't it? And people are getting results. It's getting a lot of traction, and people do. It's a fun way to exercise. But yeah, it's not a CrossFit podcast. I used to do CrossFit, and then I don't anymore. But I have experience in Olympic lifting.
Cool.
I have Olympic lifted before, but having just an hour's workshop with, she's a former medalist.
Yeah, she was at the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
And has been very successful.
She's incredible. Yeah, she's amazing. Check her out. It's Michaela Breeze if you're interested in Olympic lifting. Her Instagram's brilliant as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the way that she delivers cues on Instagram, I think is really original.
Yeah, that is cool.
And not in a corny way. It is actually just, I've never seen that before. That's a really good way to, help people out with the technique.
Yeah. But as I was saying, an hour's workshop with her a few weeks ago, I learned so much about Olympic lifting, and I knew these things, but getting the proper cues, being tweaked, being told, sometimes you can't get that feedback yourself. You don't feel what's going wrong. But she's, get under the bar quicker, try not to think about too many things, lead with the chest, that kind of thing. Invaluable. So if I was wanting to get more serious about Olympic lifting, I would invest in a coach.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to the conversation we were having earlier on about the barriers to entry and stuff, what might people consider alternatives to personal training? What do you think the best options are? So if someone came to you and said, "Look, Harry, I love personal training, but I literally cannot afford it." Maybe they are the solo breadwinner in a family of 5, and they simply can't afford it. Where would you send them?
So that's genuinely, that can be the case for people. People are generally quite honest, and if they can't afford it, then they can't afford it. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't benefit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I produce a whole load of free content that I get out there. We're doing it right now with this podcast. We're putting together something to try and help those people, and I try and collate resources and provide my own content to help those people with no outlay of cost. If they're looking for more kind of actual coaching, there are alternatives to just having one-to-one PT sessions. So there's things like boot camps, classes. You can sign up to, sometimes you'll get Pure Gym offer the Pure Lifestyle course, so I think that was £20 for 6 weeks,
which is awesome.
I think, which is it's still money, but it's not a lot.
6 hours worth of personal training, like a personal trainer's time. It's not all personal training, is it?
Yeah, it's in a group situation, so there's other people in your group, but you're getting knowledge, you're getting coaching, and
it's a really accessible course, isn't it?
It's accessible for people, and if you can't afford a one-to-one PT, then you should still look into trying to find alternatives.
And also, if you're questioning whether it's worth it, I would argue that courses like that are a really good way of finding out, because you get to work quite closely with someone that is knowledgeable and is helping you achieve your goals over that 6-week period.
Yeah.
And at the end of that 6-week period, actually a lot of people will be like, you know what, I kind of want to continue this.
Yeah. So that's about getting people to realise that value in the service. Nice catch.
Thanks, man.
Alex nearly dropped his phone. Yeah, so that's about getting people to see value, and it's almost a taster, isn't it? It's a little taste and insight into what having a coach would be like, and that could be enough for somebody to prioritise and create a situation where they can afford a coach.
Yeah.
Or me personally, I offer a price incentive on group coaching, so shared sessions, groups of 2, 3 or 4. That's the main sort of target audience that I'm looking for, because it is more affordable for people.
Yeah. And
also you get benefits such as motivation, accountability. Your friend's going to be there, your wife's going to be there, you'll push that a little bit harder. So there are alternatives to just a straight up one-to-one PT session.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Alex? Have I touched on most of those things?
Yeah, I think so. I think I have in my business. I have people can come and train with me 3 times a week for as little as 20 quid a month.
Yeah.
You know,
and what's that?
So that would be the Metcon class that I run over at CrossFit Rudis.
Yep.
For 3 times a week, you can come over on your lunch break, 45-minute class. It's 12 sessions, for 20 quid. That's
amazing. Yeah.
Huge value.
Yeah.
But obviously that is in a group setting. So I think, and there's things like online coaching as well. And there's varying levels within that. So you've got stuff that's aimed at people who are just starting their journey and people who are further on in their journey. So one of the things I'm looking at doing myself in probably the next couple of months is joining an online coaching sort of service, but it's at the level that I'm at, and obviously that's as someone that's trained for a prolonged period of time. So I think there's plenty of options out there, and I have made a concerted effort within my own business to sort of tier the pricing so that there is something for everyone. From whatever background you are, whatever your goal is, there is something within my business that I can offer you that you'll get benefit from that isn't going to cost the world.
Yeah, and like we say, genuinely that is the case for people where they can't afford it, and I don't think that should mean that you shouldn't benefit from a healthy, active lifestyle, and it's our job to kind of provide those services. You don't just do Metcon, you do boot camp.
So
you run boot camp.
So actually technically you could come and train with me for as little as 12 quid a month.
And you do train with the trainer.
Train with the trainer, yeah. So train with the trainer is a really interesting one. Actually, it's like a new service that I've launched, and basically you come and take part in the sessions that I would be doing by myself anyway. You get a little bit of coaching, and the sessions are slightly longer, so it's anywhere between an hour and 2 hours, depending on what I need to do on that day. And you just pay a tenner instead of whatever the price of a one-on-one session would normally be, because I'm not giving you everything in that instance, but you are getting some benefit because you're training with someone who knows exactly what they're doing. The only difference is in those circumstances you are following my programming, so it's not as specific to you, which again is why it's slightly cheaper.
Yeah, but it's a service, and I'm just reminding you of all your services now.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That's all right.
In all seriousness, to finish off, I think one thing that's really worth mentioning is sort of our personal mission statements as personal trainers, what we can do to help people. So if you want to go first, man.
So a little bit of a plug.
Yeah, do it, man. It's not even just a plug. It's going to be stuff that a lot of trainers will share with you, and no matter where someone is listening to this, it might be actually that they relate to that and they know someone that can help them. Yeah.
Just before I do get into my business specifically, if you're looking at getting a personal trainer, look into them. Look into how they run their business. Don't just judge them by their face. If you don't just necessarily look to the guy who's in shape because he might be a terrible business person. He might not run the best service. You need to find a trainer that you've got chemistry with.
Yep.
That you trust, that you like, that you have confidence in, that they're gonna turn up and execute your session and give you that guidance.
Yeah.
So that's just a little side note for anybody looking for a trainer.
Yep.
You need to look into their business. Ask them, and a good trainer will be able to tell you what they're all about. So, me specifically, my business is built all around service. So I want to deliver an exceptionally high level of service. I've spent a lot of time and money on my business already. Obviously, I think I mentioned on the introduction episode, I'm on Phil Loney's Advanced Coaching Academy. So that is a course for coaches that helps you develop a business model and learn how to provide a service for your clients. And there is a big emphasis on quality of service, as you do get varying amounts in this industry. Any comment on that briefly?
On
the kind
service?
Of service that the kind of quality of personal trainers?
Yeah, I think basically, this might get me into trouble a little bit, but certain gyms just need to fill their shifts.
Yeah.
In terms of man hours on the gym floor, so they will take on trainers that maybe aren't the best because it means that they're covered on a sort of insurance and first aid level. So there are going to be trainers within a lot of facilities that aren't of a standard that you would actually probably want them to be if I was employing based on a skills level.
Yeah, so that's a really nice way of putting it. But basically, the standards are low. The industry standards are low, and you see some terrible PTs and you see some terrible businesses, and that's my take on it. And I'm not afraid to say that because that is just the nature of the industry, and that's what I see. So that's why a focus on service is of paramount importance to me. I operate quite a unique business model, and as I mentioned, I've put a lot of time into creating that. And the goal is to make it as structured and user-friendly as possible for a professional and reliable high level of service. So I operate a hybrid training model. That means I support you in and out of the gym. We get practical one-to-one coaching sessions on the gym floor, and I run that in conjunction with an online training model. So I have a client management software, an app that everybody signs up for, and all my business is done through the app. So that's payment, workouts, nutrition, everything is focused on that app. We work together one-to-one, build your confidence, and my goal is to transition all my clients into my online model where I look after you solely through the app. So that's my model. It's a little bit different, and it's quite a new sort of way of doing things. But yeah, it's taken a lot of time and a lot of energy and hours to put together, but I'm happy with how it's looking at the moment. But again, it's that Kaizen approach. I'm always looking for ways to improve and roll out new services. So that's enough about me. Alex?
Mine's going to be a little bit shorter in terms of being able to describe it. Basically, my personal mission as a personal trainer, as a coach, is to empower people with knowledge and genuine enjoyment of exercise. I want and am building a community of people that are going on their own personal journeys together to discover the benefits of well-being on every front, be that on a nutritional level, on a training level, on a recovery level, whatever that is. I also want to be accessible to people of any ability and any background. So accessibility for me is the key in terms of sharing knowledge and just being as democratic as I can be in how I run my business in terms of the accessibility of it. And that's really it. I don't need to say so much more than that.
No, I think that sums your business up very nicely. If you don't mind me commenting, you have a big sense of community around your business. Like Rise Fitness it's a community. And that's through your hard work, and I think that is for me the biggest appeal looking at your business model.
Yeah.
You have brought people together, and you've got your t-shirts and stuff, which is really cool. You've got your Facebook group, you're active on social media.
Do you want a job?
Yeah. It's difficult to plug yourself sometimes, so
yeah, no.
I don't mind getting that out there about you. You do operate a very nice community.
Yeah, we're working on it, and it's going to grow, hopefully even more so over the next bit of time, as will obviously the service that you're providing. I like the fact that you are not just continuing to take money off people just for your own benefit. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like the point is to give them the knowledge and then send them out into the world and carry on supporting them through your online services. Yeah, it's cool, man. We'll wrap up there. I think we've gone on for longer than we intended to, but awesome. So remember, if you've got a question or a topic, you can now find us on Instagram at ATBpod. DM us and send us something that you want us to talk about. Alternatively, email us at theatbpodcast@gmail.com. For the last time, I think, we'll plug our own Instagram pages. You can find me at Rise Fitness UK, and you can find Harry
at HMPT Coaching.
Yeah, sweet. Cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great week.